You are here because the outside world rejects you.
Hey, what's up everyone? So The Last Ronin #1 has been out for a while now. A lot of people have picked up this book. I did a spoiler review going through and breaking down what happened in the book a while back. It was super chill. We got to talk about the events that took place in the story, but I wanted to do something a little more streamlined now that the book has been out for a while. A video talking about the big events or reveals in this first issue. So that's what we're here to do today. I've taken some of the big moments from The Last Ronin and organized them so we can take a look at them, maybe start theorizing of what's going to happen next in this story. Now just be careful if you haven't read this and you don't want to be spoiled at all. I know it's already been out for a while, but still, this is a pretty big turtle story, so I thought I'd throw out that spoiler warning first, just in case, one final time. And also, for those who are just jumping on or who just want a little bit more understanding of what's going on here, from what everyone that has worked on it has said, this is its own universe. It's no particular version of the Turtles, but it brings a lot of elements from some of the best versions of the Turtles and largely leans on the Mirage universe, aka the old comics. It's sort of like the Dark Knight Returns for Turtles. Now, buckle up, because as we always do, we're gonna grab a slice of pizza and dive into the sewers and take a look at the top 8 reveals in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. So one of the big reveals in the book that I remember where I was like, oh man, so this is how they're gonna do it, was the moment when we see who our last turtle is talking to, the ghost of his 3 dead brothers. A dark but cool reveal. If you look closely at what they're saying and what they look like in the final conversation he has with them when he's unconscious, you can actually decipher which turtle the last Ronin is and which Ninja Turtles died. This one might have been overlooked as it happens pretty quickly, but it opens up some questions. At the start of the story, our Ronin steals a motorcycle from a young woman. She's referred to as Jones, as in Casey Jones. As of now, that's all we have to go off of. The rest is just me speculating, but Jones is the one who finds our turtle bleeding out at the end, and she seems very aware of what a mutant turtle is, almost as if, let's just say, her father told her stories of these things, or maybe she was raised with these turtles around, although she doesn't call him by his name, which if she was close to them, you'd think she'd know who it was. Casey has had a daughter before in other versions of the Ninja Turtles named Shadow. Question is, could this be Shadow? During the attempted break-in of our villain's facility, our turtle is jumping up walls, going through sewers, and fighting what appear to be robot foot soldiers, or at least what we think are robot foot soldiers. The Ronin beats up one so brutally that it breaks the faceplate of one of these things, only to find out that inside appears to be a human eye. One of the spirit turtles speaks to our last Ronin and asks, "Is that a human inside that armor?" And then what could be presumed to be the spirit of Donatello says, "Looks like some kind of a cyborg. I think it's more synthetic than human." Now we don't know what's the story behind these cyborgs, but I'm sure it's going to play a large part in the story and we'll find out. But as of now, super dark and twisted thinking that our villain is taking human parts and putting them in his robot army. In this story, Shredder appears to have had a grandson at some point. His name is Oroku Hiroto. He wears all black and has long black hair and looks to be in charge of the city. He appears to have his own district that he lives in. He mentions that he has forged this empire. He seems to eliminate insubordination from lower districts and broadcast it to the entire city to make examples out of people that step out of line. In the case of our Ronin, before Hiroto even knows it's one of the turtles, he says, to broadcast the pursuit, the capture, and the execution of the intruder. Now, once he finds out it's one of the turtles, it is confirmed that he's the one that killed them in the past. As he says, "I thought I'd killed you pathetic mutants before," which later you find out he did 10 years prior to the current events. Now, I know he could just be talking about the turtles and Splinter here, but his emphasis on pathetic mutants makes me wonder if he eliminated all mutants. Maybe we'll see some that survived later on, even old villains. Imagine our last turtle here teaming up with an old enemy. When the Ronin is breaking into Hiroto's facility, he really cuts through all the obstacles like a hot knife through butter, which makes what happens to him at the end much more impactful. He was so close. Anyways, he gets past the robotish foot soldiers, then faces some robotic elite guards, and it's not until he faces off with some Stockman tech that he gets stopped in his tracks. That's right, Stockman as in Baxter Stockman. Now, Baxter's not seen in the book, but he is certainly felt. One can only wonder if he will appear in a later issue, and in what form. We see he's developed a new type of mouser, ones that can fly and shoot lasers from their head. Our Ronin uses an EMP to deal with them, but then we see that there's a big one. This monster crushes our Ronin's revenge plot by tackling the turtle out of a window of this skyscraper, sending the Last Ronin down to a bloody fall where he slams into the concrete below and bleeds out as onlookers gather. Truly a gut punch. But yeah, Stockman's around, at least in some form. So Oroku Hiroto is the grandson of the Shredder, and as we see in the final moments of the book, is also the son of Kurai, who now lies in some sort of a cryogenic chamber. She appears to be in a coma of sort, and needs this machine to stay alive. Not much is known on how she got this way, based on the information of the first issue, but we do see that Hiroto keeps her nearby and talks to her. He tells her, "You will always be here to share in my glory and to witness as I finish all that you could not." By the sounds of it, it seems like she was in the middle of doing something when she got this way. Maybe the turtle stopped her. Maybe this drove Hiroto mad. All theories, but fun to speculate as we look forward. At the end of the first book, we see that April is still alive during these times, as she cares for the Ronin, who was bleeding to death the last time we saw him. She appears to have some sort of underground medical facility. There's medical equipment and stuff, but everything looks all worn and weathered and pieced together. April looks much older than we're used to seeing her, as this is in the future. Her clothes is tattered and torn, and if I had to guess, she is residing in the district Hiroto called the Bottom. Whether she is in hiding, we don't know, but what we do know is that the Jones girl that I talked about earlier, that found the Ronin as he was dying, was the one that brought him to April. The question this opens up, is this girl April and Casey's daughter? Did she bring this turtle to her mom? Now, the biggest reveal of that first issue was the identity of the Last Ronin. If you look at the story closely at what led up to the reveal, you can see that they were showing you who the turtles were that died. First of all, we had the dialogue of our main turtle, which was in orange boxes. Some people had figured it out that way. In one of the other dialogue boxes for one of the Ghost brothers, we saw that it was red. We assumed that was Raphael. Other dialogue throughout the book from one of the ghosts clearly was coming from Donatello. You could tell by the way he was talking. And then at the end, before we get the reveal, we see two of the Ghost brothers wearing diagonal strap belts, which is always Leo and Donnie that wear those. And we get a very tough love type line from one of the other Ghost brothers, which is totally a Raphael thing to say. Then at the very end, we get confirmation with April's line as she says, "Who are you talking to, Michelangelo?" And there you have it, the Last Ronin is Michelangelo. Now, I have heard people speculating whether this is a misdirect and maybe it's one of the other turtles, but I don't think that's the case. Eastman, co-creator of the Ninja Turtles and one of the main people working on this book, has said in multiple interviews that to him, since Michelangelo was the first turtle ever drawn, even before he was named Michelangelo, that it only made sense that he would be the Last Ronin. So yeah, crazy reveals in issue 1 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. We still have 4 more issues that are coming. The next issue should be out soon. I know some dates have been shifting. We'll talk more specifically about that on a separate video, but they are coming. So stick around. We're going to be talking about all that stuff as it develops. Remember to hit subscribe if you're new. All we do on here is cover new, old, and upcoming turtle stuff. I cannot wait to see where this goes. Super exciting. Thanks everyone for stopping by. I will see you in a little bit with another video. Take care.